You need therapy because people say mean words to you on the fucking internet. You're a pussy.
Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking about Andrew Tate's points on why he thinks therapy is not good. Me being somebody personally who has been to a lot of therapy and has seen the benefits of therapy, I'm going to be talking about some of his points. Some of them I disagree with, some of them I agree with, but overall I think I have seen therapy, the practice of it, have a benevolent impact on the people that have received it.
Action versus inaction. Therapists live in a world of inaction. To sit and chit-chat and talk and discuss. Maybe, tell me when you were 12, that time you had that orange juice, who gives a shit?
So Andrew claims that therapy is inaction. Talking, chatting with somebody isn't necessarily getting things done. His perception of action is external, materialistic. Point A to point B. We were here, things were this way back then, now we're here, things are better here. You could see it from the outside, externally. Hence the action in the physical realm. Whereas the progress that therapy makes is in healing. It's in the internal world. It's in shifting our worldviews, getting a different perspective, changing our minds about who we are as people and the world around us in order to increase our well-being, our happiness, and actually have a different output of different behaviors. Because if we're in a resourceful state, if we are more positive, in more of a growth mindset, our actions are going to be different and more beneficial.
The whole point of science is that you can predict the future. For something to be science, for something to be exact, you have to be able to predict the future with it. 1 + 1 is 2, which means if I take 1 and 1 and put them together again, it will be 2 again in the future. This is how we can put rockets into space, because we can predict, we can see where the planet's going to be. We know where to put the satellites. We can work things out. You can predict the future with a science. You can't predict the future with psychology. You can't sit there and psychoanalyze someone and tell me what I'm going to do.
So the study of psychology isn't explicitly a science. The practice of therapy isn't necessarily a science either. And Tate's reasoning in here is that 1 + 1 = 2. In scientific theory, experiments, and testing a hypothesis, you run an experiment, and over the course of running multiple experiments, the same input gets the same output. So we have the science now. This is objective reality. And he's kind of right here. I kind of have to agree with him, because studying something like the subjective realm, studying something like emotions, is a lot of theory. It is kind of mystical because we don't fully understand why people do the things they do. All we can do is test this outside stuff and have statistics. Something like personality is still theory, because a lot of what people are doing is subjective, not objective. It's self-reported statistical evidence of, oh, I went to this many therapy sessions, I took this psychoactive medication, now I'm reporting higher levels of well-being and less anxiety. Self-reported subjective rather than objective, scientific, tangible, measurable stuff. And so I have to agree with Tate here. It is kind of a pseudoscience, and it is a lot of theory.
Therapy is a fantastic way to make you selfish. Because that's all you talk about is, what do you talk about? Garbage.
Yeah, why you have the right to act this way, even if you're acting terrible.
Why did I do? Well, when I was 9. Oh, get a life.
Yeah,
So, Andrew, therapy is selfish. We could also call good deeds selfish. People could do good things for other people, have random acts of kindness, because they get some personal, selfish benefit out of it. It makes them feel good. But calling good deeds selfish, calling therapy selfish, puts a negative connotation on it. It devalues the benefit it has to other people around the person getting therapized. Because therapy can also provide enhanced self-awareness. And so something that gets explored often in therapy is childhood trauma. And the effect of childhood trauma into adulthood can show up as unhealthy methods of coping and defense mechanisms. These behaviors can ultimately negatively affect the people around the person who's doing them. And so going to therapy, getting an increased self-awareness sense, and being mindful of these behaviors and mitigating them can make the world a much better place for everybody. And so is therapy actually selfish? No, it's not, because everybody around the person involved in the community receives some benefit throughout the relationship and the behaviors and interactions they have with the person.
If you sit in front of someone all day, every day, and talk about all the bad things that have ever happened to you all day, every day, you're gonna feel pissed off. Even I would want to jump off a fucking bridge if I spent 12 years talking to some dickhead about all the bad things that's happened in my life. It's detrimental. Sitting there crying about bad things is never gonna help you.
So here's where it gets a little wishy-washy, because it really depends on the subjective experience of the client, of the patient getting therapized. Because the negative talk about the past can be interpreted one of two ways. On one hand, it could be complaining, holding on to something, and kind of just like not growing from the experience. And on the other hand, talking about the hardships that we've been through and the childhood trauma and stuff like that is part of the process. It's part of the healing. It's part of letting go, letting that emotional energy flow out of the body and get it out in order to let go. And so therapy isn't necessarily the most optimal option, because therapy focuses on the past leading up to who we are today, talking about the past in order to better understand who we are today. Whereas a better alternative that I'm in the business in, and I have had a lot of value in myself and is super valuable for professional development, CEOs of companies use it, pro athletes use it. I'm talking about coaching. Being able to hire a life coach or health coach, fitness coach, some kind of coach to talk and collaborate is going to have more of a focus on the present and the future. A coach helps you design the goals and the action steps of how you're going to achieve those goals. And so therapy, past, coaching, action in the future, this is where it's at, and they use similar techniques. And so I really encourage you guys to reach out to me if you are interested in my coaching services. And if not me personally, just try it, because this has helped a lot of people grow. Even Dan Coe saw value in this. And so thank you guys for watching my video. I hope this brought you some kind of wisdom, hearing my perspective on Andrew Tate's take on therapy.